everyone, welcome back to the vlog. I hope you are all well and have had a great week. I have been busy sewing. I already have some of the things that I showed you in my fabric haul last week made up, including the Ankydoris, and I can't wait to show you. I really want to send you a picture, but I have to give myself more content for the vlog, otherwise I'll just show you them all and then have the end of the month going, oh, I don't have anything to show you. So yeah, really excited to be sewing those up, and I've been keeping myself very busy. The competition has been a huge success and I'm really excited because in about an hour's time I'm about to do my first live broadcast. So this will be coming out after it. Thank you very much for entering. I hope you caught that and I hope you won. So today is something a bit different. I noticed that I was getting a lot of lovely questions in the comments section, and I do try and answer them all, but it does get quite tricky, and I thought maybe I could just do a nice big Q&A and you could all throw me your questions and I would answer them. So without further ado, here are your questions and my answers. So Joe Watt on the blog said, if you could make a dress for anyone, who would it be and what would you make them? That's a very good question, Joe Watt. So I absolutely love Bjork. I've always been inspired by her style and her music and her business acumen and just her as a woman. So the idea to design something for Bjork would just be a dream come true. I remember when I was a bit younger watching her opening the Olympics, where she had a dress that filled the whole of the stage. I think it was like a boxing ring, and it filled the whole of the stage, and she sang this amazing song about the sea, Medulla it's called. The dress was like the waves of the sea. So that would be a dream come true, to design something huge and theatrical for Bjork to wear on stage. Kate from the blog has a few questions. So the first one is, do you know how many meters you have in your stash? God, I have no idea how many meters I have in my stash. Way too many. I would say, no, I just don't even know where to begin, because if there's about 2 meters of each, and I reckon there's got to be about 100 pieces of fabric in there, so 200, 300 meters, but probably way more, which is probably way too much. But I keep saying it will keep me a lifetime, but then I buy more, so it will keep me 2 lifetimes instead. She also says, how many patterns do you own? Now this I have more of an idea, because I went through and I catalogued everything in my Google Drive, so I've been really good and I know that I have 150, but I also went car booting last weekend and got a whole new stash, so I have probably about 175. So that's a pretty good stash as well. She also says, I know you love Tilly's book. I do. I think Tilly and the Buttons book is amazing. Do you have any other favourite sewing books? This is really good timing, Kate, because I've just started to get obsessed with Japanese sewing books. So I did the pattern from Feminine Wardrobe, which is the first one I've got, and ever since I've been looking on Amazon and eBay and trying to get the rest of them to complete my collection, and especially if they're in English, because I don't think I could tackle the actual Japanese ones. But there's a couple that I'm looking at that look amazing and really great. So there's a Basic Black, I think it's called. So there's a few of those, and then another book that I love and I use a lot are the Gertie books. She's got 3 books that I've got all of them, and I get a lot of new techniques and vintage techniques from reading them. But there's quite a few. I'll put a bit of a list together for another vlog and I can do my favourite sewing books. That would be a good one to do. She also says, what has been your favourite make? I've got quite a few that keep jumping to the top, but actually the Madeleine that I wore for the last vlog is a favourite of mine. I'm just so proud of it. I have it here just to, I think what I'm just most proud about is the top stitching. It's a bit crumpled, but I am so proud of this skirt because I really struggled with top stitching when I made my ginger jeans, and I was screaming blind at my sewing machine. And it actually turns out that maybe it was my sewing machine, because with my new lovely FAF Passport 2, which is the best sewing machine ever, top stitching has become a real joy and I'm really thankful about that. So yeah, I would say that at the moment that's my favourite make. So Julie says, I would like to know what your favourite fabrics are to sew and which ones you dread and avoid. I do love to sew a good cotton because it just feels easy. Like a really like a cotton lawn, which I love cutting as well. They're just really lovely fabrics. But I've started, again with my new sewing machine, I've started to move on to slippery fabrics more and more and started to realise that I love to wear them. The really drapey voile that I just used for a very recent make was so gorgeous. I just loved wearing it and it was really nice to sew. So the more I get used to sewing slippery fabrics, the more I like them. What I would dread and avoid is just something really expensive. So a really expensive silk, a crepe de chine or something. I would just be really scared to cut into it. In fact, me and Megan saw some sand washed silk in Goldhawk Road the other day and we both were like, oh, that's the dream fabric. Sand washed silk is so beautiful. But I would just be too scared to cut and sew into it at the moment. Give me another year and I think I'll start using sand washed silk if I can afford it. This is Julie still, and she says, one of the things I enjoy the most about sewing is the feeling of being on a constant voyage of discovery. And have you surprised yourself with a fabric / pattern? And I completely agree, Julie. I always feel like I'm on a constant voyage of discovery with sewing. And I love to find patterns that just challenge me that bit further, whereas they don't feel too scary, because I don't like to take on a pattern that I'm just straight away, like there's too many things that I'm scared of here, like boning and horsehair braid and all these different things in one pattern. So I like the fact that I take on a pattern that has just one little thing. So I just finally conquered the lap zipper in my Madeline skirt, which I'm really pleased about. And I don't know, I think I surprise myself with fabrics and patterns all the time. The fact that I made 7 bridesmaids dresses for my lovely bridesmaids last April out of chiffon was a massive surprise that I even managed to pull that off, because I was telling people I was going to make these dresses and they were looking at the pictures and they're like, Gabby, why are you making them out of chiffon? You've only been sewing just over a year. And I was thinking, yeah, I am totally crazy. But I did it and I'm really pleased that I did, because I think they're beautiful and I love the drape of the chiffon. It just looked absolutely perfect. So it's a good time to show you a picture of my bridesmaids that I will put up on the screen at the moment. That I think is the thing that I've surprised myself most with, is a massive achievement for me. Okay, so Gingerella, I love your vlog by the way, and thank you very much for writing to me. Has quite a few questions. How, when and why did you get into sewing? So how, I think I've always loved the thought that maybe I could sew my own clothes. I always loved the idea that I would be able to turn a piece of fabric into a piece of clothing and wear it, and especially to wear something on stage. That was something that really drove me to sewing, is that I was wearing a lot of up-and-coming designers who were making these big beautiful theatrical dresses, and I was starting to think maybe I could do this, maybe I could make my own ones, and then it would be even more personal. And you know, I love to be involved in everything I do musically, so why not also make and design my costumes? So that was a big thing that led me towards the path of starting to sew. And then my wonderful husband now, he was my boyfriend at the time, got me a sewing machine about 4 years ago, and it took me a little while to even unpackage it, because they are quite scary things when you get a sewing machine for the first time and you don't know how to use it. So I made a ridiculously huge pincushion. It was meant to be like a normal pincushion size and it came out like a pillow. And so again, I think I was scared because I was like, I'm so bad at this, why am I even trying? And then I saw on Groupon a make a dress in a day class, and it was just £50, and I thought, you know what, £50 to make a dress and learn how to sew, I'm going to go for it. And I'm so pleased I did, because there were only 2 of us on this day, and so it was basically a one-to-one, and by the end of the day I had a fully lined, zippered, sleeved little shift dress, and it was a really accomplished make, and I just loved every minute of it, and that was it. I was just completely hooked. And oh, and it said when, so that was October 2014. That's when my whole sewing journey began. Gingerella also wants to know, did I know Megan already, or did I meet her through sewing? Yeah, absolutely. We haven't even known each other a year. We met last September at a Simplicity blogger meet, and straight away I was like, I just want to meet all the people. I was really, really excited about this sewing community that I knew no one in, but I was determined to get inside somehow. And Megan was there and we just hit it off so quickly, and I kind of strung her along to come with me to the handmade fair the weekend after. I was like, Megan, come on the Sunday, and I don't think she was planning on coming on the Sunday, but I like coaxed her in with I'll give you a lift and all of these things, and then we just became such good friends straight away. It was really, and I love sewing with Megan. She's just a joy to have around, so I'm really thankful that I met her, and lots of other sewing friends that I've met through meetups and through blogs and through general internet sewing goodness. She also wants to know how much work are my vlogs, i.e. how much editing. And that's a really good question actually, because when I first started doing video blogs, I had the background of making videos for other people. So I've been making tutorials for Simple Sew, I've done a fair bit of editing of my own music videos, and I used to do video blogs about my music as well. So I knew that I was coming into it kind of with a technical mind, that I would do a lot of editing and try and make them a really beautiful video. So I do put a lot of work into my vlogs, but I really enjoy it. I think by the time I filmed it, I noticed how much I gabble on. So when you see like a 10-minute video, that probably was half an hour of me just chatting away, and I've got to edit them down, and sometimes the edits might seem quite a lot because they're like, I just really should have shut up instead. But I'm not very good at editing myself in real life, whereas with the computer in front of me, I'm much better. So yeah, they do take a bit of time, but honestly, I just love doing them. I really like the fact that I can have my music involved in it, and Hobbs loves being in it, and it's just, yeah, it's a real joy for me, and obviously connecting with the audience that I have through it has been absolutely amazing. So to answer your question, Gingerella, it is quite a bit of work, but it's all worth it. Oh, and she says, not really a question, but tell us more about your musical side career. So yes, I am a singer-songwriter. I have been pretty much since I was 18. I'm 32 now. I started out just playing guitar songs on the guitar really badly. I was at boarding school, and I would have my housemates and my roommates going, Gabby, stop playing guitar, you're so bad, because I would be like, how many, wait, roads must a man walk down, trying to go through the Bob Dylan songbook and Joni Mitchell. And I was wanting to study opera at the time. I was getting to the point where I was at the end of the school, and I was thinking, I'm going to go into opera because it's really big and theatrical, and I love the fact that you can make people cry. I loved that about singing and about opera. And then I realised that actually I've always been a bit of a free spirit, so I got a bit scared at the idea of doing opera, which is a really heavy discipline, and I thought I'll write songs instead. And that's when I discovered Jeff Buckley, and he really kind of made me realise that you can be theatrical and operatic but write your own songs. So that started off that, and I don't know, lots happened. I've been on many tours and sang with lots of people, and my band Gabby Young and Other Animals formed about 8 years ago. So we've toured all over the world, especially Germany. We love playing in Germany. There are amazing audiences there. And I'm very lucky. I've played in Japan and Australia, and on the telly and on the radio, and yeah, so it's very much kind of a big part of my life. But the last couple of years, that's just slowed down a bit, and sewing has kind of taken over. But I've started writing a lot more since I had my surgery, because my voice is okay after it, and I wasn't sure whether it would be. So yeah, if you don't know, I had thyroid cancer and just had surgery like 2 months ago. So that was quite a weird part in my career where I was like, will I sing again? I don't know. So the fact that I am is amazing, and I've started writing again, and I've got my head down, and I'm really excited about my music career again, and it's been a little while since I was. So that's really good. So I'm now trying to work out how to tie sewing and music together, and I've got a few ideas in the pipeline, so you'll definitely hear more about that soon. So thank you, Gingerella, for those lovely questions. So Georgina, who goes by Sew in the Garden, who I once sewed some lovely Liberty pants with, says, how do I position a zip, as mine always seems too low, which means I have a gap at the top. I'm probably the wrong person to answer this because I still haven't quite, a couple of my last zips have got better, but that's something I've really struggled with also, and a lot of the patterns don't say where you're meant to position it. So I tend to, if it's a waistband, for instance, if it's a skirt, I tend to position the stop of the zip right as close to where the waistband fold is as possible. But yeah, no, I do struggle with that. I think I'd love to know the answer as well. Can someone tell us? Tracy Fairchild says, so will Gabby Young and Other Animals be touring the US anytime soon? I live in Virginia and saw you were here recently. Come and visit us again. I wasn't in Virginia that recently. I was in Virginia maybe 4 years ago, but I love it and I love touring America, so I will definitely be back. So thank you, Tracy. I will come and visit you again and I can't wait. Okay, so on the vlog we had Jemmy Jam Sews asking, how did you get started in blogging and vlogging, etc. So I started my blog as a DIY blog when me and my husband were doing up our flat and our garden from kind of complete wasteland to a nice place to live. And I started blogging my adventures because people were going, oh, you built a pond today, you've got to blog about that. So we did. And I got really into it and I loved blogging about my gardening and making a vegetable patch and things like that. And then when sewing came into my life, the blog just started to become only about sewing, and I left my kind of DIY behind and I very much was all about needle and thread. And now it is a sewing vlog. Knitting sometimes creeps in as well because I love knitting, but I just love to kind of, I don't know, I love to put a record of what I'm doing. And then vlogging came, I guess, because I've already had a video channel with my music. It was something that I wanted to kind of have an audio visual journey of my sewing as well. And something that I didn't realise that vlogging is amazing for is sticking to what you say you're going to do. So normally I can procrastinate for about an hour on what pattern shall I use, what fabric shall I use, maybe even all day, and waste time that I could be sewing. And since I started my vlog, I tell you what I'm going to make and I make it, and it's amazing. And I've never had that kind of organisation in my life. So although that wasn't a reason why I started, it was a very good byproduct of it. But yeah, it felt like a really natural progression from my blog to move on to vlogging. I love the media of video and I think it's a really powerful tool to connect with your audience. So that was something that I just had to try and really love it. Maggie Heath says, I'm also interested in the higher waisted version of the Ultimate Trousers, the Sew Over It Ultimate Trousers. I have a pair, but they are still a little too low in the waist for me. I'd like to know how you altered the pattern. Well, I'm going to pass this one over because Lisa from Sew Over It herself did she did a blog and a video blog about how to put the waist higher and add a waistband, so go and check it out because it's brilliant. I use it all the time and I love the high-waisted version of the Ultimate Trousers. So I hope that's helpful, Maggie. Joe Navin says, I'd love to ask about your favourite fabric shops, stalls, car boots for fabric shopping. Definitely a fan of car boots, I think you all know that by now. I go to Chiswick every first Sunday of the month. It's an amazing one in London that's just got everything. It's huge as well, you can spend hours there. And I do happen to find more patterns than fabric at Chiswick. But there have been the odd good fabric there. And then for fabrics, it's a real hit and miss. I mean, the last 2 weeks I've been, I haven't seen any at all. But Battersea and Pimlico are two that we also go to, me and my husband, every week, and that's really good. Fabric shopping, I will just head to the Goldhawk Road if I really need something. I go to Rolls and Rems as probably my closest one in Finsbury Park. And there's also a little fabric shop in Kentish Town which is really close, but it's more a haberdashery, and it's called Delicate Stitches, but they have some lovely stuff there. But otherwise I'm probably online, to be honest, for my fabric shopping. I really love Fabric Godmother and Minerva Crafts and White Tree Fabric, and eBay's great, the Textile Centre's amazing, so I hope that helps. And also she wants to know if Hobbs enjoys sporting a bandana made by me. I haven't actually made him anything yet. I keep saying I'm going to, and I was like, Hobbs, I'm going to make you a coat. But the coat that we have for him, he never wears, so why would I spend hours that I could make myself a dress in making him a coat that he refuses to wear? So I think actually Hobbs will not enjoy sporting a bandana made by me, so I won't make him one. Laura Salsa says, maybe you could talk a bit on deciding what fabric you use for which project. I either go and find fabric that I love and I say, oh, this would be great for trousers or a skirt or whatever, and then I find the pattern that I think is most like the one in my head. Or I'll get a pattern and I'll look on the back and I'll see the recommended fabric and I'll think, oh, I've got some of that, let's have a look if it's suitable, or I'll have to buy it. But yeah, I normally go by recommendation. I also look at people's blogs and at pictures on the Google image search. If I'm interested in a pattern that I'm looking at online or something, I'll see what other people have made out of it, and that normally inspires my choices as well, because they're very inspiring, all of them. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Laura Salsa. And then I just have one question left, and this was in real life. My lovely friend Barbara, who I met through the Great British Sewing Bee meetup, just had one really simple question. She said it was very serious, and she said, can I have Hobbs? And I'm very sorry, Barbara, but absolutely not. So that's all the questions and answers I have for you today. I hope I answered everything all right. Please do feel free to carry on sending in the questions. We can always do another one of these later on, but I also love to chat to you online and do try and answer your comments. I have quite a few to get through because of the competition and all my new subscribers, hello! But yeah, it's really lovely to talk to you about sewing, and I really hope that I inspire people to make more things. So I'm afraid Hobbs isn't here to say goodbye, and he's not with Barbara, he's still with me. But thank you very much for watching, you're wonderful, and I will see you very soon. Take care.